If your projects are always going south or you want to prevent your future projects from going south, then this is the video for you. I'm Jerry Aliberti, owner of Pro-Accel. So I've been in the business for over 20 years. I ran over $300 million of my own work. I've estimated over $10 billion worth of work. In addition to that, I've talked to many contractors all around the country, and I continue to do that every single day. I've gathered 8 different reasons why a lot of projects go south. And I want to share those reasons to you. I would love to know your comments. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and please like the video if you like it. So let's get going. The first one, you got the wrong people in the wrong spots. As companies are growing, they become a little desperate to hire more help. More help with larger projects requires higher salaries, right? Because it's just a different caliber of a person that you need to bring on those different spots. So what happens is the projects become a little bit more complex. You just got the wrong people in the wrong spots. A project manager for a $5 million a project manager for a $5 million job is a lot different than a project manager for a $20 million job. So you get the gist. You got the wrong people in the wrong spots, or you hired someone for a particular position and you felt that the company needed them in a different position. So what you did was you put them in a different position and they just don't enjoy their career. They don't enjoy their job, and they're just not giving you all that they can possibly give you. The next one, you're just bidding on the wrong work. I've had many conversations with employees and within a company, and I asked them, what is it that you feel is impacting the lack of productivity in all these projects? I would say that one of the top 3 answers is the company is just bidding on the wrong work. The owner is maybe getting a little desperate, wants to bid on or wants to venture out into a different scope of work. The people, the resources that are currently aligned with the company just aren't fit for that type of work. It gets as simple as that. So as you're growing your company, you need to really get real of what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. What are the strengths and the weaknesses of the existing employees that you have? What new resources, what kind of new employees you need to hire that have a different skill set that can grow into your future goal and future visions. Your future goals and your future vision for the company. These are really important. The next one, nobody's tracking costs and you're not getting real-time data. I'm going to say, my own statistic is going to say 90% of most people out in the field have no idea how to track costs. So assuming that your estimate was done properly, assuming that your estimate and the budgets and your escalations are all done properly, you also need to track costs out in the field. You need real-time data. You need to know on a per week or per month basis if each unit cost or your lump sum breakdown in a particular or particular tasks in your lump sum breakdown are actually making you money. Are you meeting budget, and are you doing better than budget? I was talking a few weeks ago, I was talking to a project manager. He works for $1 billion a year company. He says, Jerry, the number one reason why I feel all of our projects are not doing well is because we find out 6 months later that a particular item of work or scope of work is not doing well. Who's even tracking it 6 months down the line? Nobody even knows, but they're being told 6 months down the line that they're not making money on a particular item. He says, imagine if only we can find out every couple of weeks that we need to shift gears a little bit. That's why tracking your budgets on a daily basis, putting it into a simple spreadsheet. Start with an Excel spreadsheet. There is software out there, but let's just start simple and start off with an Excel spreadsheet and tracking it in real time. Every week, every 2 weeks, and then every couple of weeks, changing gears and changing path. Next, your support level stinks, which results in lack of motivation. A lot of owners just don't really know how to get out of their own way. You know, let's face it. A lot of leaders are put into leadership spots not because of what they know and the skill set that they have, but because of who they know. So because of this, the support level stinks. I mean, it really does get as simple as that. Everybody likes to finger point. Nobody wants to take on leadership duties and take the blame, because as a leader, you know, it's really important to understand that when you become a leader, you don't work for less people because now you have people working under you. You actually work for more people. That's how you have to view your leadership role. You work for more people. The people that you're leading are relying on you to make really good decisions, because it's going to dictate the future of their career and the future of the company. So it all starts with you. You need to implement a really good support system. You need to hear people out, let them finish talking, support them, and try to view the project, try to view the world a little bit through their lens a little bit, and meet them. You know, don't always say no to them. Try to meet them halfway a lot of the time. It's going to really work. Next, your planning stinks. PMs just don't look. I personally feel that most PMs have no idea how to look beyond several weeks into the future of the project. You know, your foreman should be taking care of your day-to-day operations. They should be talking with your super about what's needed over the next couple of days, the next week or so. Your super needs to be not only dealing with the day-to-day operations, but needs to be looking a couple of weeks out in advance. They need to be communicating with the project manager, and the project manager needs to be looking months in advance. What are your long lead items? You know, what needs to be communicated today that will dictate how the next couple of weeks go to get to where you need to be in a couple of months from now to stay on schedule. It's all about planning. And the majority of the planning needs to happen. Well, I mean, planning is always happening, but you really, really, really need to dive deep into planning in your first couple of months. Because if you can get your planning and your submittals and your scheduling and any kind of conversation you really need to have your first couple of months of your project, you'll be surprised to see how the project kind of starts to self-run itself. Now, it's really tough for a construction project to always completely self-run itself, but a lot of the tasks can be if you do really good planning in the beginning stages. Next, the communication from the top to bottom about expectations absolutely stinks. Another top complaint that I hear is people just don't understand what's expected of them. You can't assume that a 10-year seasoned person really understands what's expected of them. Yeah, you know, you want to assume that, but there's always a chain of command, and that chain of command needs to be really respected and needs to understand what the next level of leadership needs to be saying to the people that they're leading about what's expected of them, both in their career, budget expectations, productivity expectations, and what's expected of their role and their responsibilities to help the company and the project to get to the next level of success. So expectations is really, really important. And don't assume that a seasoned professional is really going to understand the expectations from the owner, who they probably see maybe once every couple of weeks. It needs to be communicated consistently. I have plenty of videos about this as well. You could check it out on my website or even over here on YouTube. Next, just straight up lack of leadership. Who's making decisions? It's getting to a point in this business where nobody wants to make decisions. I think a lot of these points all kind of touch on why people don't want to make any decisions. Again, finger pointing is a big thing. Bad culture and environment within the company as well. Who's getting blamed for what? A lot of the water cooler gossip, right? So a lot of people are just naturally insecure. You know, I mean, people need a comfortable environment, a supportive environment to become a good leader, so they can be confident enough to make good decisions. I know a lot of people like to blame, well, the architect doesn't understand the project, and the drawings stink, and the MEP trades, or whomever else they want to blame. But at the end of the day, if you're a project manager, you're a super, you're in charge of your role and your responsibility, and you need to make decisions that are based on what information you have ahead of you. So just make decisions. It's not always going to be the right decision, but just make a decision, because the cost of inaction is going to cost a lot more money than you making the wrong decision most of the time. And last but not least, no rhyme and no rhythm to the project. There's no flow. There really is. There's no chain of command. Nobody knows who to go to who for any problems, for any issues. Nobody's really in charge of understanding who's identifying change orders, who's in charge of the change order, who's tracking the change order every single day. There's no rhyme and there's no rhythm to that project. And even within the company itself, everybody's just kind of scrambling, doing what they think needs to be done. Everybody's winging every single day. The owner themselves doesn't even understand what needs to be done every single day. So you're taking day by day by day without the planning and without implementing any structure. You know, as you're growing, your top line revenue is growing. Hopefully your profits are growing, which is your bottom line revenue, which is your bottom line. But the guts and the structure and the brains of the operation need to be growing as well. It creates an environment where everybody understands the future goals of the company. It brings everybody together.